Hello. So today we're going to be talking about whether you are feeling pressure when you're auditioning. And most actors come to us, with that problem, saying that when they audition, they feel pressure. So you might have been feeling this yourself, of course. Like you have an audition, it's at the last minute. Sometimes you get it in the evening and it's for the next morning. You're going to have to tape. You're going to have to find a partner. You're going to have to worry about all the tech side of the taping. Before that, you're going to have to learn your lines. You're going to have to make the best choice. You're going to have to make sure that you do it right, that you really understand what they want, that you honor all the emotions. There is so much that is put in there. You're afraid that you're maybe going to make a mistake, that you're going to make the wrong choice, that you're not really understanding what they mean or the character, or that you'll forget your lines, that you may not set up your taping situation right. And if it's in person, because there's more and more auditions that are happening in person again, you may feel like, oh, the pressure of the room, and what if there's more than the casting director in there, or what if it's an assistant and they don't care about me. So there's all of this stuff, the competition, the really wanting to do it well, wanting to impress, wanting to do it right. And that pressure is really, there's a word in Spanish that's great. It's called agobiante. It's like it takes the life out of you, right? There's so much pressure that the audition process doesn't become fun at all. Like it's part of your job description to audition, and it's part of what you do, but you're feeling that you're not liking the audition process, whether it's on tapes or whether it's in person. You're feeling it's not fun. You don't like auditioning, right? So I've also noticed, and you may have noticed that yourself, that the bigger the opportunity in your auditions, the more you'll feel the pressure, right? If you have a huge opportunity for a huge role, and it's a huge project or a huge studio or a huge director, something big that can change your life, you'll feel even more pressure, right? So you'll feel completely like you have to fight through so much of the tension to be there that it's really counterproductive, because the bigger the opportunity, the more you want to be there. And of course, if it's for your neighbor's short film, you won't have that pressure when you're auditioning for him. You'll really be there and in the moment. But if it's huge, and if it can change your life, like a lot of people say, then you'll feel a lot of the pressure. So I also hear actors talk a lot about when it's a big opportunity and it's a big casting office, big name actors that you may read with, that can also put a lot of pressure. When it's a callback, it gets even worse, especially on Zoom, and there's more people and you have to set up all the tech, and it's so different from what you're used to, that the pressure keeps increasing. So I get it. Like you're an actor and you want to work, right? You want to embody those characters and you want to defend them, and you really want to act. And the bottleneck is you have to audition in order to book those roles. And so it can be very frustrating for you to really come from a place where you're very passionate about acting. You really want to act, and you've been acting for a very long time maybe, and yet still the auditioning process can be very painful. We have a lot of actors in our community. We have beginners, and we have highly pro actors who have been acting for decades constantly, and they will still come with that same level of pain in the auditioning process more than on set, right? So it's a common situation, and it's happening to most people, whatever the level, whatever the experience, whatever the level of success that they have gathered. So what I see actors do usually, and you may have caught yourself do that, is feeling that there's something wrong with you and that you need to constantly take another class to kind of fix the problem, because you're trained and you know how to act, and yet when you have an opportunity, you feel the pressure and your instrument closes down, so you're thinking there's something wrong with me, right? There's something that I'm not doing right, so I should do another acting class, I should sign up with another acting studio. And then you'll be like, oh, that hasn't worked. I'll sign up with a better acting teacher or a better acting mentor or the best acting mentor. You might change countries and look for the one that will help you and give you the magic recipe and the magic trick so that you don't feel all that pressure in your auditions and that you can actually enjoy the process. The reason why you are feeling like there's a lot of pressure is because you're approaching the audition process as an audition process. So that might feel very simple, but it's actually very deep, so stay with me. The reason you're feeling so much pressure in your auditioning process is because you're approaching it as an auditioning process. You're approaching it as a test at school. Remember those tests at school? You would work really hard with or without your rebellion, and you would try to really get it right, and then you would get to the test and you would regurgitate everything and try to be a good student, and again do it all right, and then hopefully you pass. Well, you still are having that energy happening to you when you're auditioning, which means that when you're auditioning, you're focused on auditioning, you're focused on booking, you're focused on winning, you're focused on getting it right, doing it like they want. And the second you do that, you've actually abandoned yourself, right? The second you're paying attention to booking that audition, or doing it well, or doing it successfully, or changing your life with this opportunity, you're abandoning yourself. Yourself is the artist who is showing up to actually open and be of service to the character, right? No matter what art you're doing, art is never about applying a plan, repeating a technique, repeating a rehearsal, controlling the outcome of what you're going to do and doing it. Whether you're painting, singing, acting, whatever art you're doing is never about reproducing what you've planned ahead, right? Art is about actually being able to show up fully present, being right here, right there in the moment, open to everything that flows through your instrument, through your specific DNA, through your specific instrument, and allowing all of that vessel of yours to serve the purpose of a song, a painting, in this case as an actor, a character moving through a story. That is what you're doing in that moment. You're opening yourself up 100% to offer your full 100% aliveness and truth and core of who you uniquely are in the moment to serve the purpose of a character in that specific story and circumstance. And so when you're not doing that and you're in your ego trying to find a way to get it right in the audition so that they like you, so that you book it, so that you change your life with it, you're not doing the I'm here, I'm open, I'm fully alive with whatever it is that I'm feeling and being in this moment. And I'm allowing this, I'm surrendering, I'm devoting all of this to the character's circumstances, and I make their needs more important than my needs. Once you do that, the casting director can see you because you're actually there. When you bypass that step and you're trying to book, win, be the best, get it right, don't make a mistake, figure out what they want, you're skipping the beat where you're actually there open of service. You're manipulating the result. You're trying to manipulate the result. When you're staying in the outcome, you're in your ego. And art doesn't come from ego. Art comes from your heart, comes from giving everything up. It comes from not wanting to control. It comes from opening and being here and allowing you and whatever is here in the moment, whatever you want to call it, your instinct, your connection to something bigger, to actually happen without you knowing what it's going to be like. That's where art happens. Art does not happen from you trying tricks and methods and techniques to manipulate how the next moment is going to come so that you're the best, so that you're liked, so that you're booked, so that you can change your life. None of that is part of art. It's human, but it's not part of art. So if you catch yourself do that, it's great. Let's get curious about it. Your ego is taking over, right? Everything's taking over the art that you want to devote yourself to. And I'm going to tell you something, it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong about your ego. You would be incapable, mostly, to show up and be fully open because you've been trained and you've been conditioned to be good, to be better, to improve, to not be you, to fit in, to be appropriate, to be liked, to please. This is what you've been trained to do in your entire life. By your education, from your parents, from your school system, you have been trained to disconnect from you, from what makes you you, from what makes you unique. You have been trained to be a good boy or a good girl, to listen, to submit, and to do what you're told. And so, of course, it's very hard for you to show up and not do that because all of your plumbing goes in that direction, right? Which is why we do the work we do with actors. We don't teach acting. We don't even coach acting. We make sure that you're able to undo all of the wiring, undo all of the programming, undo all of the stuff that makes you want to please, that makes you want to do it right, that makes you want to look good, that makes you want to be liked, that makes you want to be validated from the outside, that makes you want to compete against others, that makes you go out of yourself to find life instead of staying right here, where all of the life, all of the love, all of the stuff that you want to feel is already, right? So we help actors undo that just because it's a natural consequence of having been programmed and conditioned to be a good person, good boy, good girl, good listener, good pleaser, good behavior, good fitting. So I hope that makes sense.